Welcome to our Wof Expo News update podcast, where we touch upon the latest interesting topics in logistics and supply chain. And today I would like to welcome Jakub, who is our guest, to speak about yet eminent and promising technology of blockchain and what this distributed ledger technology can do for us in a supply chain. Welcome, Jakub.
Lucy, thanks for having me today.
Jakub, I have heard myself so much chatter in the recent years about the blockchain and what it does or does not, and how revolutionary it should be for logistics. I was hoping that you may give us some more insights as you have done some extensive studies on this topic. So, what would you say is the current status of blockchain in logistics and supply chain?
Blockchain is a very hot topic in supply chain and logistics. Having said so, it's not as hot as some years ago when back in 2017, 2018, it was kind of a hype. And if you remember, it was caused by the Bitcoin or by the cryptocurrencies as such, which were quite high priced. Back then, the big Bitcoin raised to some 20,000 US dollars per one coin. Now, that euphoria trickled down into our industry, into logistics, supply chain, and global trade. And many new initiatives, many new startups, but also new discussions about standardization and nomenclature has started back then. Now, we have seen that since then, only few of these initiatives or startups remain and strive, but a lot of them either disappeared or are just making it to survive. So the excitement is much lower than before, and it's kind of right that it's this way because it's clean up the market. Now, what is a new motion or new phenomenon on the market is that a lot of authorities like governments, custom authorities in various countries, but also organizations like World Trade Organization or World Customs Organization are investing into this technology and are exploring values and are bringing the somewhat blockchain-enabled technologies into the market and into their processes.
There is a lot of activity among the industry in this field that is indeed exciting. I must be honest that I also hear from some of my friends who do not believe in this technology and think that it is just a hype. Is that true? Is there a value in this for our industry?
As I said, I do agree that there is and there was a hype, and it's now more to a realistic value and use cases. But I still do advocate that there are use cases or um, there's a good application of this technology into logistics and supply chain and global trade. Now, some of them, for example, could be things like a proving of origin of information. In supply chain and logistics, there's a lot of information being shared among multiple parties. And the mistrust is always embedded in the industry. So proving the origin of information is one use case. Another very good use case is proving origin of a document or basically who has issued my document that I'm having in my hand right now. And it grows even into the area of making a declaration, that means customs declaration, transparent, unique, or trading license, making sure that the trading license is the original one and genuine. See, the traditional systems, ERP or MIS systems or whatever centralized databases, they were not designed to do that.
I see that we have a lot to work on and a lot to learn. What would you suggest to our listeners to do next?
Yes, that's a very common question. And certainly it's important to continue the education onto what is blockchain or what are decentralized ledger technologies. But having said that, I don't mean that you need to now rush into the bookstore and buy some thick books about programming languages. What it means, it's more to explore what it could do and how does it work, really. The best is to look at real applications of this technology. Remember back some 30 years ago, we have the situation when internet was launched. And back then we have learned slowly but steadily what internet means in our lives and in our businesses. We learned to use email, then a little bit later we used websites, and then some 10 years later we progressed to what we call a social networking. Now, since then, and maybe even today, we don't need to really know the technology behind, right? The HTTPS protocol only some experts know that. So similarly, we need to look on blockchain. We need to explore what it does, what are the best use cases. I encourage the listeners to talk to the peers who has already ventured onto the journey to explore the value and have done something. I encourage the listeners to explore various initiatives and use cases that many startups are offering. And then, of course, last but not least, we invite the listeners to our event, the WOF Expo next year, where we will be talking more about blockchain and how does it apply to supply chain and logistics.
We are happy to be on this journey exploring blockchain for supply chain and logistics together. And thank you, Jacob, so much. Until next time.